If you're eyeing an embroidery machine that can actually keep up with your projects without breaking the bank, the Brother NQ3550W might have caught your eye. It's one of those machines that promises both sewing and embroidery in a single package, which sounds great until you realize how many of these combo units end up gathering dust because the embroidery side feels like an afterthought. Before you click buy, let's talk about whether this one is worth the investment or if you'd be better off saving up for something else. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. This isn't one of those high-end embroidery-only machines that costs more than a used car, but it's also not the bare-bones starter model that forces you to upgrade after a few months. The Brother NQ3550W sits in that middle ground where it can handle everyday sewing tasks like garment construction or home decor with ease, while also giving you enough embroidery capability to personalize items without needing a separate machine. The 6x10-inch embroidery field is larger than what you'd find on most beginner models, which means you can work on bigger designs without constantly resizing or splitting them up. That's a practical advantage if you're planning to embroider things like jackets, tote bags, or quilts where space matters. One thing that stands out right away is the included software. Brother bundles their BES Blue embroidery software for free, which isn't something you see on every machine in this price range. That software alone can cost you $100 or more if you buy it separately, so having it included is a nice bonus. It's not the most advanced program out there. Don't expect professional-grade digitizing tools, but it's more than enough for editing designs, resizing, and adding text. If you're someone who likes to tweak designs before stitching them out, this software will save you from having to hunt down third-party tools or pay for additional subscriptions. The magnetic hoop that comes with it is another feature worth mentioning. Magnetic hoops are a game-changer compared to the older spring-loaded ones because they're easier to set up and less finicky. You don't have to wrestle with tension issues or constantly readjust the fabric, which is a huge time saver if you're doing multiple projects in a row. The 5x7-inch hoop size is versatile enough for most common embroidery tasks, though if you're planning to work on very large designs, you might still need to split them or invest in a bigger hoop later. Still, for the price, getting a magnetic hoop included is a solid perk. Now, let's talk about the trade-offs. The biggest one is the learning curve. This isn't a machine you can unbox and start using like a basic sewing machine. The embroidery features, especially the software, require some time to get comfortable with. If you're new to embroidery, you'll likely spend a few hours just figuring out how to load designs, position the hoop, and adjust settings. That's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to consider if you're looking for a plug-and-play experience. On the sewing side, it's straightforward enough for beginners, but the embroidery functions are where the real complexity lies. Another thing to keep in mind is the built-in designs. There are 258 of them, which is decent for a machine at this price point, but don't expect anything groundbreaking. Most of them are pretty standard florals, borders, basic monograms, and if you're looking for intricate or modern designs, you'll probably end up downloading or purchasing additional ones. The good news is that the machine supports wireless connectivity, so you can transfer designs from your computer or even a mobile device without dealing with USB sticks or cables. That's a convenience that's easy to overlook until you're stuck fumbling with cords. Who should buy this machine? If you're someone who sews occasionally but wants to add embroidery to your projects without spending a fortune, this could be a great fit. It's also a solid choice if you're upgrading from a basic sewing machine and want to experiment with embroidery without committing to a high-end model. The included software and magnetic hoop make it a better value than many competitors, especially if you're planning to do a lot of personalization work. On the other hand, if you're a serious embroidery enthusiast or planning to use this for business, you might find the design library and software limitations frustrating. This isn't the machine for you if you need professional-grade precision or a vast library of built-in patterns. Similarly, if you're only interested in sewing and have no use for embroidery, there are simpler and cheaper machines that would serve you better. One last thing to consider is the noise level. Embroidery machines aren't exactly quiet, and this one is no exception. If you're planning to use it in a shared space or while others are working nearby, it might be louder than you'd like. It's not unbearable, but it's something to think.